What's up, Simply? Simply, so you want to go second, right? Okay. How do you go first? Thank you, Emoji J. Everybody, welcome. This is Grow Through It. I'm your host, Cureage or Cure. Um, Here we talk about different adversities and how we didn't just grow through them, but how we grew through them and grew from them to become the people we are today. With that being said, we have two new guests tonight. A little bit about myself, though. One of my adversities that I faced and grew through was I grew up being an athlete. A lot of sports I played, and then one of them, the main one, was martial arts. So since I could walk, I basically was training martial arts. As I became a teenager, UFC got very popular, and I started getting into that. I started, training different mixed martial arts. You know, Basically getting myself ready to go into UFC. That was my ultimate goal. That was my dream. So it became my job as well to get myself in the UFC. And so not only did I love it and I had passion for it, but also I was doing, 5, 6 days a week, 2 or 3 times a day. So it was everything, and obviously I was going to school, job, everything like that. Until one day, into my career, really early into my career, I woke up and I couldn't walk. I had a herniated disc. Long story short, couldn't walk basically. I could tell you all about my injuries, but couldn't walk, and found out why. And after that, obviously I went through a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of different things that were very hard for me to accept that this was the end of it. This was the end of my career early on in my career. Um, so after rehab from my injury and everything like that, one thing I was not able to do was stay away from the sport. So even though I was, in crutches for a while and everything like that, I was not able to train. So I would be on the sidelines with the different coaches and things like that, which is a little different for me. I wasn't used to that view, so to speak. But it was very interesting how all of a sudden different fighters were coming to me for advice. Um, Usually, and I guess the reason why it was different because usually I would be doing my thing. I'd be focusing on my training or my fights or tournaments that are coming up. And this time I'm just watching everybody. So I was very flattered. I didn't know how to take it. With that being said, I just kind of went with it, rolled with it, everything. And next thing I know, I'm giving these people advice on how I would do things, how I used to do things, and watching them use my advice and winning, flourishing in the sport with my advice, being in their corner, coaching them, whatever it was that helped them. And then that's when I realized that, instead of being continuing to be bitter and depressed, and all these things that aren't affecting me in a good way about my injury, sitting there in the sob pity corner or whatever we want to call it, instead of continuing to do that, I found love and fell in love with being a coach. And ever since then, I kind of took that and ran with it. So, I got into the physical training aspect or physical therapy aspect, the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, just everything you could think of that goes into helping athletes, right? Like, so it's not a simple thing like, oh, like for football example, like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up this ball and I'm gonna get it to the touchdown area. There's so many different aspects. I'm sure a lot of people here have played sports. You guys understand. There's a lot of different aspects, mental, emotional, and physical. So I took that, got all my degrees and certifications in those areas so that I can continue being the best coach I could be. Um, so that's a little bit about myself. It's not very much, but it is enough. um, so with that being said, I have two guests. I have one Simply Sweet is here. I'm not 100% sure who the second guest is. I believe it's Rose. But everybody appreciate everybody for being here. It kind of was a last minute thing with the guests and everything. But again, this is Grow Through It for those of you who just joined. We're here every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. If you're Central, I think it's 11. If you're in Alaska, like Miss Rin over here, we're in for the win. It's 8 p.m. I think on Monday. So if you guys ever want to be a guest, hit me up on social media, favorite me here. You can add me on, or yeah, Moji J also on Instagram, Snapchat. You can message one of us and let me know or let us know if you want to be a guest. So with that being said, I will have Miss Simply Sweet, because I think she's the only guest that's in the stream right now. I'll have her go first. So go ahead and request a guest box whenever you're ready. But yeah, here we just talk about different adversities and how we've grown through them, how we've grown through from them, how, why, what we did, etc.
Hi.
Okay, there she is. You're a little glitching. Can you blink twice? Is she glitching for you guys, or is it just me? Just lagging? Okay, I think it's working. How are you?
Hi. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So really quick, where did Simply Sweet come from? The name.
Um, where did the name come from? I thought that I was looking for love. I went on a dating app. I wasn't a paid subscriber. And one day I pressed the Z Live button and I was shocked at what I saw. I didn't realize that morals and values and the way that I thought we all lived changed. And so at first I didn't think this app was for me. And then I realized, well, what if I type in the search bar things that really fit with me? So when I was trying to find a name, it just came up. It just was a suggestion. And what people don't know is I've been through quite a few things where I think it came to make me hateful, make me mad, make me bitter. And I chose to make me not bitter, um, but like, better. I
Right,
I chose to take something that was supposed to destroy me and help me turn into my best version of myself despite everything, right? And so that was a choice I made. And so when the name Simply Sweet came up, I thought, okay, that I think that's good, but I really didn't know the depth of it until I really started going on the app and streaming and all that. And so my name is Simply Sweet at Kindness Matters. And what I really like to focus on my stream is like, how can I give it back to the community? How can I take things that I learned through adversity and encourage others and help them so they don't have to struggle as much as I did?
it's cool. So Simply Sweet basically ties into your story that you're going to share tonight a little bit.
Totally. A little bit,
Right on.
yeah. I
And
didn't
I
want
was
to
just
get
wondering
into
because
the deep.
I wasn't sure if it was Simply Sweet was like one of those ironic names where like, Little John isn't little or, Big Mike is actually a really small guy. Those type of things. So Simply Sweet, instead of being Simply Sweet, you're like harshly mean or something like that. So I didn't know what it was. That's why I like to know people's names where they come up with them. I think we all know why Emoji J has his.
My,
He's got
my
all the
name
emojis in his name.
basically represents the way that I live. No matter what I've been through, no matter how much hate and adversity and challenges I've had, I'm choosing to be a sweet person. I'm choosing to be kind. If someone comes at me and they're disrespectful, I don't even engage. I just don't even respond. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to. I get to choose how I respond to things, but I can't necessarily choose, what happens. So when that happens, I just try to do the best I can to stay in character the way that I want to be in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just being unapologetically you, regardless of what other people's reactions and responses are.
Yes. And sometimes it's harder said than done, but
Of
me on
course.
camera right now is actually an example. When I first started streaming, I had had a trauma where I chose to be kind of quiet and introverted for 7 years, where I didn't go on camera, where I didn't interact with a lot of people. And then when I started streaming, I wouldn't go on camera, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, and it hurt my feelings because no one said, "Why are you scared to go on camera? What happened?" And I feel like if they would have asked, it would have been a gentler way to encourage me to go on camera. But it was so judgmental and hurtful that I actually just ignored all the comments and got busy creating, creating what you see behind me, just creating what you're seeing right now. And like took all of that negative energy and that hurt and turned it into becoming the streamer I am right now. And it's actually really amazing because this is why I'm on a feature show, right? Because I just took that negative energy, turned it into something positive, and ran with it.
Nice. I like that. So
Oh,
to kind of go in from there, I guess we can simply transition to the story, love that gift, that you want, not the story so much, but a little bit about your past that brought you to be simply sweet, basically. And I guess that's part of it, right?
totally.
But I know in the group chat, you kind of explained a little bit more in depth of what happened and why and how and what you did to kind of grow through that instead of, like you
Right.
said, instead of being bitter, you became better.
Right.
So where to grow through it. My name is Cureage or Cure. This is Simply Sweet. Please hit her with a favorite. She's our first guest of the night, and enjoy the show. We'll talk more about it. Obviously, you have an auction coming up soon, so we'll talk more about that.
So today we're going to be talking about my physical adversity, but in my life in general, I've had physical, emotional, spiritual um, challenges, right? And so uh, there's so much I've learned. And I think, it's easy sometimes to say, oh, I had a hard life. But I feel like life can become a free college course and you can get your master's degree,
I like
right?
that. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, absolutely.
And I actually feel bad for people who haven't had a lot of adversity because you can tell with their morals and their values and their character. Iron sharpens iron kind of thing, right? And
Right.
so when anything would come to me, instead of feeling bad for myself, I would take responsibility and say, I'm going to become better, not bitter. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right?
Yeah,
And so I think perspective is everything, and we can make our perspective work for us or against us. And so
100%.
sometimes I don't look with these eyes, I look with hope for my future, a bigger, greater plan. And so I guess I'll start with the first example. So when I was in my 20s, I started getting health problems, like major ones, where I was like having a hard time walking, my hair was falling out. I mean, I just had some major issues, and I had the best health insurance at the time, and I thought, oh, why is this happening? So I thought for sure that I would be able to go to my doctors and they would help me and I would get better. I have the best insurance. I did everything the way I thought we were supposed to be doing it. And so for a year, I went to all these appointments, and every appointment was more painful than the next. And none of it was helping me get better. And so, what I ended up doing is one day they told me, they said, you're going to be in a wheelchair within a year, and you need to accept that and just get ready for it. And I've always, since I was like 5 years old, I've been a person of faith. And so I always knew that I was created for a special purpose. And so I went home and I prayed and I said, is my purpose being in a wheelchair? And I literally heard, throw your food away. Now, a
Like
little
you
bit,
heard a voice, or you just kind of heard it in yourself,
I
like
just
kind of like
in my
this is what I need to
spirit.
do.
Yeah, just in my spirit, like, that gut feeling you get. It's not a voice.
Right.
It's like, it's just a all no. It's like, I can't explain it. We all have it though.
Yeah, it's just like your intuition. I call it just
Yes.
like your intuition, your intuitive feeling was just like, I need to do this right now.
But here's the challenge, okay? When I felt I need to throw my food away, I'm like the biggest junk foodie ever. I grew up on all the things, you know what I mean? The Frosties, dip your French fries in it. Like, food was my life. I'm just being real with y'all. So when I heard throw your food away, I was like, I literally sobbed. I thought I was dying. I did. I lost all my friends because my friends were like, if you can't eat McDonald's, then we can't hang out with you, kind of thing. I mean, it was really hard. But I'm telling you this for one reason. If I would have not felt the fear and did it anyway, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. People see me, so I'm a chef now. I make, all the things in an organic, holistic way. I was able to reverse the diagnosis of being in a wheelchair all because I just listened to the first path, which was throw my food away. And the way that I want to like give you a visual is that you're in the woods and you look to your left and you can go the way the doctors are saying. This is a paved path. You're going to do this, this, and this is going to lead to you being in a wheelchair. And we're going to pay for you and we're going to guide you through this path.
Yeah.
But the path I took was no path at all. There was trees and limbs and branches and a whole bunch of things in the way. Because I didn't, when you grow up thinking like all the food that we eat now, who knows about a mung bean? Who knows about a zuki bean? Like there were so many foods I never even heard of because I grew up eating a certain amount of just these foods. But on the planet, there's so many foods that we don't even know about. And so what ended up happening is I just, instead of like going shoe shopping or clothes shopping, I would go to health food stores and I would research and I would learn. And then I would go travel to like events where like five doctors would be talking the whole weekend and teaching us about holistic living and detoxification. It just became an obsession.
Right.
And so I was
A
able
good
to reverse
obsession though.
that. What was that?
A good obsession.
Really good. Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And so when people say, oh, you're lucky or, oh, your skin looks so good or whatever, it was just a choice I made of blind faith to listen to that inner knowing of throw your food away. And so there was a moment where I couldn't have spaghetti because I didn't know that mung bean pasta existed. You know what I mean? And so that journey has helped me ever since. So any diagnosis since then, I keep I keep going outside of the box to try to learn the next thing. So it's just been really a positive experience.
That is really cool. It's almost, I mean, it's very similar to an experience I had myself in my teen years. I don't really talk about it much in the show, but I have Tourette syndrome, And when I was a teenager, my anxiety and my Tourette's got so bad that I had to do homeschool for like 2 years during high school. And one of the things I had to do was I was seeing a holistic a couple holistic doctors, and they had me on not so much I guess a diet. They had me on the Atkins diet, but it wasn't just Atkins. It was watching, staying away from nitrates, no longer eating MSG, and all these things. So when people, well, I tell people like, guess how long it's been since I've had soda or since I've had like, Burger King or something like that. They'll guess like, oh, I don't know, 7 months, a year, 3 years. I'm like, it's been almost 19 years since I've had any of those things. And not that I wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure I could right now and I'd be fine. But I had to eliminate all these things. So I totally understand that, that feeling when you have to get rid of all those certain foods. Because I wouldn't say I mean, I definitely ate my share of junk food growing up. I think we all did as kids and as even teenagers or even now, we don't know. But regardless, when we're growing up, we definitely have had some crazy, gross foods, but we loved it. And even now, we still love it. Um, so when you were going on your journey through, finding what was right for you, food wise and everything like that, and that was helping you, what was it that, did you ever find out like what it was that the ultimate root of the cause of what was going to be like? Was it like a celiac disease? Was it anything like that? Or was it just something that you just needed to improve your diet?
I had gotten silver fillings put in my mouth, 11 of them, 7 years prior. And I thought that it was silver, but I came to find out that it was mercury. And
Oh
that
my God.
mercury was leaking into my body and shutting my body down. So I had one of the worst percentiles of mercury in my body that the doctor had ever seen.
Wow.
And I found a holistic doctor who was also a licensed MD. And so he had both worlds at his fingertips. He had the actual medical establishment we live in today in society and the holistic approach, and he married the two together. So that's when I learned about food allergy test, heavy metal test, mineral deficiency test, and I get them done every year personally. And every year it's different. Every year there's maybe some toxins that we get in our body from whatever we're exposed to.
Just environment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So basically, I established a home around this new lifestyle, like chemical free, additive free, organic, air, clean air in the house, healthy mattresses. It really has gone. I've been living like this for 16 years now. So
Yeah.
it's my passion. And so when people see me on my stream and it's second nature now. So what people are seeing me do is so foreign to them and they're so amazed by it. Because, we're talking cakes and cookies and brownies and all the things grain free, gluten free, organic, and vegan, right? So it's
Yeah.
super fun. And like today I was showing people on my stream before I was 3 hours early for the show because I thought it was 6 p.m. Pacific. And so I went on stream and I showed everyone jasmine oil. And jasmine oil is amazing for calm, for
Right.
relaxation. And it's also
Even
like a
digestion.
natural. Hmm. Yeah, so I just show people different things.
Have you thought about
Yeah,
doing a
it's
show
fun.
like that?
Yeah, in fact, I've been approached about 10 times. It's just getting the everything together and then practicing it and then submitting that information to actually make it happen. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't think it
absolutely.
will take very long. Just kind of like a help, like simply sweet, simply, I don't know, something. I'm sure you could come up with something clever.
Well, we
Um,
already have, so there's Simply Sweets Rest Stop, which is where it's a safe place to come and just relax, listen to positive music, especially in the evening when there's a lot going on the app. So I want to be a safe spot for people. And then there's
yeah.
Simply Sweet in the
Crazies come out.
kitchen, and then there's Simply Sweet cooking show. So those are the signs I've made so far for the different streams I
Nice.
do.
Everybody, thank you for coming by. Obviously, I couldn't acknowledge everyone, but I do see you all, and thank you for being here at Grow Through It with Cureage or Cure. That's me, obviously. Please favorite Simply Sweet, and you have to message me because there was something you mentioned. Oh, the heavy metal testing, something I've been interested in doing. I just don't know which route to take is the best for that.
Okay.
Um, But again, everyone, thank you for all the love and thank you for being here tonight. This is Grow Through It. We're here every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Mountain. I don't know what time you guys are in, but you guys can figure it out. Um, so Simply Sweet, thank you. I'm going to have you come back in just a little bit after our next guest, and we'll kind of exchange little
Yeah, and
takeaways.
there's actually one more example if you want me to give it to you really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had one more question too, so go ahead.
So in January, I was diagnosed and need a knee replacement.
All right, you did mention it. Yeah, yeah.
And I fired my doctor. And I said, there was something in my gut that said, don't accept it. Because when he said it, it didn't make sense. He just said it's a car crash and it's ruined. And I thought that wasn't enough detail to explain to me why it's ruined. So I
Right.
just told him, I said, when I figure it out, do you want me to come back and show you how I did it? And so I would walk around February, March, April, May, and June. I walked around telling everyone I was healing. I started researching how the knee works, all the natural supplements for the knee. It not
Right.
just like ointments, but like pill form and powder form and collagens. And I just went nuts about it. I lost 50 pounds. I was like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do this. And I'm happy to report that in June, a girlfriend approached me and said, do you want to know? I think I have a doctor that'll help you. And I was like, really? And so I went to see a sports medicine chiropractor who specializes with professional sports teams. So when they're in a football game and they get injured, he has 20 minutes to get them back on the field. And so they were able in 3 months. My knee was completely dislocated, and I had not just one problem, but like four. And it's still not
Wow.
perfect, but my knee looks like a knee and I can function better than I functioned in a year. And it's because I held the
So
faith and I stayed positive no matter
this
what.
is January, like almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've done all this in that year, in this year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I learned some things. I learned that last year when I went and visited my friend had had a knee replacement. And I was like, you have a knee replacement. Why aren't you walking faster? And then I had a year to reflect how selfish I was. And so I actually called my friend and apologized. And I realized that it's a blessing to work. It's a blessing to get up and make your bed. It's a blessing to be able to go to the grocery store. I was humbled beyond belief this year because it happened in November. So it's actually been a little bit over a year at this point. And
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's been a humbling experience and I feel like it's made me a better person than I was before. And I can really understand people's pain and be patient and understanding because now I know what it's like to walk with a cane.
Right.
And then when they corrected it, they had to actually re-break my leg naturally and move it back
Right.
in the right
Naturally.
position.
So what would you say? I mean, obviously you had a lot of takeaways just in this year, less than a year.
Yeah.
What would you say would be like the biggest one that you could share that might help somebody in the audience that is something that really changed you or helped change you for the better? Not maybe not change you, but help change your, like you said, your perspective.
Yeah.
Right, that's something that you like to share with everyone.
Absolutely. I already know it.
Go ahead.
Um, every day that you get up and you have that 10 hours or those 12 hours before you go back to sleep, every hour is valuable. If people aren't speaking life into you, if people are trying to fight with you, if people are not respecting you or loving you who you are, Your time is valuable, it's precious. Energy is limited, especially when you have a health issue or a knee issue or anything like that. So value your time, and if something doesn't feel right, you don't have to fight with it. If you see a snake in the grass, you don't have to go and look at the snake. You can just turn around and walk away in the other direction.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like, valuing your time is because time is limited, obviously, and it's short. It seems long certain days, but when you look back, it's very short. But valuing your time sounds like it's also valuing yourself, avoiding people and things that don't serve you.
And then you find out, then you teach people how you deserve to be treated, and then you find the right people that you can actually roll with.
Yeah, and naturally, just when you start valuing yourself, you start attracting people that will value you and respect you because that's what you give out and that's what's going to come back at some point or another. Like the whole,
Absolutely.
that quote, your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like your vibe has been attracting a lot of foodies. They want to eat healthy, good foods, hopefully. Otherwise, they're in the wrong stream.
No, it sounds like, you and I have a lot in common, not just the food, because you had the food experience, but also just wanting to put good vibes out on this app. The biggest thing that I can tell you guys is stop thinking about what you can get. Think about what
Yeah,
you can give. So when you
we
see
all have
someone
amazing
successful on
gifts.
the app, what was that?
So we all have amazing gifts. Sometimes we're not aware of them, sometimes we are, but we all have amazing gifts that it just takes us to recognize and realize and accept that we, you know, can give those things out, however it may be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there is
What
an
I've
interesting
noticed is,
question by Keep the Faith for you. And it says, what's it like to be,
okay,
do you see it in the comments, her
what
question?
was that?
Keep the Faith's question. I don't know if we have a second guest, so that's why I'm kind of just going with the comments right now. And again, everybody, welcome to Grow Through It. I see everyone here. Obviously, I can't acknowledge every person, but I do see all of you, and I thank all of you for all the gifts or just being here in general. Um, so I don't know if we have a second guest tonight, but we're just gonna kind of go with the comments. Anyone have any questions from Miss Simply Sweet right now?
I have a lot
Right
of
now is the perfect
notes,
time to
so
ask. Um, Faith, if you'd like to come in, absolutely. And you can ask your question for Simply Sweet. All good, emoji J. Stuff happens. Um, but
y'all, I
yeah,
have so
so
much content. We got this.
yeah, make sure you guys favorite Simply Sweet. You guys can always ask her in her stream different questions, but she will be back in the box in a few minutes. I see you, Sniper. But I'm pretend like you didn't say my show sucks. So,
Oh, I have a
um,
lot to say about prebiotics.
so I'm gonna have you hop on. I think Keep the Faith will be our second guest tonight, since she wanted
Okay.
to. But I'm gonna before we have her come in. Lit, thank you, Elizabeth, Kitty, everybody, and I think it's Ange. See all of you guys here. What was I gonna do? I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off. I'm usually used to having two guests, so I'm just kind of winging it tonight. I'll have you hop out of the box for a little bit, and you'll be back in
Okay.
just a bit. But real quick, before I have Keep the Faith come in, I want to stop my camera from wiggling from this weird thing. I like to do a couple little quotes, and I try to get them to I try to pick them out before the show, and hope that they resonate with the guests and with the storyline, whatever it may be. Um, so I think the first quote I'm going to read is it's the affirmation of the week. So you guys can take this if you guys want me to write it. Well, I can't really write it, but if you want me to read it again so you can write it, you can do that and read it throughout the week in case you're having a bad day or a rough day. Um, so this one says, I have the freedom and power to create the life I desire. Just kind of like manifestation, or if you guys believe in affirmations, something you can say to yourself, something you can write on your bathroom mirror, whatever works. The other one is just kind of like it's from my calendar. So I didn't make up any of these. They just kind of are there, and I just grabbed a random one. This one says, and this one I think really relates to Simply Sweet story, is the task of changing the world begins in the bathroom mirror. So I'll say that again because I messed it up. The task of changing the world begins in the bathroom mirror. I feel like if I were to rewrite this, it would say the task of changing your life begins in the bathroom mirror. Um, Obviously, we want to do different things, like she said, taking, giving, accepting, receiving, um, whatever it is. We tend to do certain things without actually taking a hard look. And it says in the bathroom mirror, but any mirror or just even at yourself. You don't really have to physically look at yourself. You can just see, like, if you think about it, like tonight, we're all here, right? This is the show. Now we can think about what we did over the weekend, what we did last week, the ups, the downs, certain things, maybe things we want to change, maybe things we want to do again this week. And absolutely, Sniper, I agree. And then we can look at because this is the beginning of the week still, right? We still have the whole rest of this week, and we have the weekend, we have the rest of our lives. Um, so we can think, what did we do last week or this weekend, or what didn't we do last week or this weekend, or what are some things that we can avoid doing, or whatever it is. We can take that and put it into our lives, like it says, the task of changing. Doesn't mean you have to change yourself. You have to be a different person or anything like that. But I think we all, I mean, if you're here tonight, I'm guessing that's why you guys are here, is because you want to have a better life. I would say, I would hope that 100% of us all want better lives. Not that our lives are bad or anything like that. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know everyone's story. But, we all would like to have better lives. Why not? If we're not getting better every day, what are we doing? If we're not learning every day or growing every day, what are we doing? So with that little intermission being said, I'm going to have our random guest of the night, second guest, come on into the box, and that is Keep the Faith. If you haven't favorited her, or you don't have her favorited already, please do. If you
Hello, everybody.
have,
I'm laying down because I had to get out of my wheelchair. So,
no
um,
worries.
yeah. But so for those of you that don't know me, I have cerebral palsy. That's just a big fancy word for a brain injury that I can't walk, and um it's due to medical malpractice, and the doctor dialed up the ventilator too high and I stopped breathing for about 10 minutes. So that's kind of where my whole life started. But I didn't know about it till I was 16, and I'm 25 now. So I found it in my
Wow.
medical record.
So
So,
it's been 9 years that you've been kind of growing through all of this.
yeah. So I've been processing it, grieving it, all those things, and just trying to learn as I go, really, because it's really difficult for me to just express like how I feel to, like, if it's a close friend and stuff, yeah, of course, but like it's
It's
really
hard to open
difficult
up.
for me to express like the biggest parts of my story. But this app is also a part of why like I'm I've talked about it so much, is just because it's helped, and like it's helped me become a better person.
By streaming.
Yeah, definitely. Streaming has definitely helped me.
So, what's one big thing that you feel like helped you the most, other than streaming, obviously, but what's one big thing in those 9 years that really helped you just accept that this is what it is? It's not who I am, but I have it, and I make my life the best I can.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned is your life is up to you. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to make things happen for you. It's your life, it's your trajectory, so you can sit down and be miserable or be sad and do nothing, or you can try to make the most of it and do something with your life. And it's hard, it's not easy. I
Yeah.
have difficulties every day, but I still do it because one, I don't want to give up on myself and I want more for my life. And two, I I don't quit. Like I don't give up easy at all. So I'm not going down
Right.
without a fight.
Sounds like you're not going down at all. Maybe just into your bed. So during those 9 years, what were some things that you experienced? Um,
um a lot of bullying, a lot of trauma, a lot of just understanding that I was different. I remember I was in junior high, so seventh grade, and this girl named Sarah came up to me and was like, "Can you feel your legs?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, what? Like, come again?" Um, and then I realized, oh, I'm different. Or the time that my mom um, came up to me and was like, I remember running with my walker into the other room and being like, Mom, I want to be a gymnast when I grow up. Like, I want to be in the Olympics. And we had to have a really raw and honest conversation. And I was 5. And I was like, my mom was like, okay, this is going to suck for you. This is going to really hurt. But it's better that you know now um, that you can't stand up. And I, of course, I locked myself in my room and sobbed for like a good week and just didn't talk, didn't eat, didn't didn't do anything. Like I didn't care. Like it was just the most awful feeling to know that the life that you wanted so badly, you had to grieve the loss of it at such a young
right.
age. I was 16 when I found out about it, that it wasn't I
Yeah, that's
wasn't born with it. It was malpractice. So I had to learn very quickly that I was different and I was a person that had a disability and I was going to be looked at differently for the rest of my life. And that's okay. Like I've experienced so much trauma and so much hurt, but I've also experienced undescribable joy that I can't even describe. It's only because, and granted, a bigger part of my story, when I was in 2020 during COVID, I didn't want to be here anymore. And I have a meet me tattoo. And the day that you see on my arm is the day that I started streaming.
wow. That's really
And
cool.
I started streaming because I didn't want to be here. And I didn't want to live my life anymore. And I decided, hey, I already feel like crap. I already want all this pain to stop. So I already feel like crap. So what have I got to lose with putting myself out on the internet and trying it out? A friend reached out to me and was like, "Hey, try this out. You can meet people, you can do whatever you want. Just don't die," basically. And I haven't left.
And now it's almost 3 years later.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So would you say that that was probably your biggest support system was when you started
Oh,
struggling, or did
yeah,
you have one before that?
I think that honestly, to this day, a lot of times I love my family, but my family is not the kindest most of the time, a lot of the time, I would say. And there's a difference between blood family and chosen family. And Meet
Absolutely.
Me is my chosen family. And I choose to come here every day and just enjoy it, because these people, they're not just little bubbles with ring levels and all this stuff. They're actual people. Cure is an
Right.
actual person. I'm an actual person.
I'm a
Like,
robot, actually. I'm just kidding.
no, but like, it's just, we all have stories, we all have baggage, we all have all this crap that we have to deal with. And it's best if you deal with your problems with other people if you have that luxury. And I didn't have that luxury until I came here. And
Right.
that's why I gravitate toward it so much. And that's why I want to be a top badge. And that's why I'm grinding for that and trying to be the first female in a wheelchair that uses a wheelchair to be one. And that's so I can give back to other people that literally come on Meet Me or POF or Scout or whatever platform they're on and say,
Right.
hey, look, I don't feel good. Like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like anyone cares. I don't feel like I'm a part of something. Like, I don't know if anyone realizes this, but like a disabled person on this platform getting 8 million diamonds is not a normal thing. Like, does anyone realize that? Like, this isn't normal. And like, the only reason I've gotten to where I've gotten to is because of support, is because of me being open and honest, and me being
You being
able
you.
to accept myself. Not always, but a good majority of the time.
Right.
And
We all have our hard days.
yeah, and I think one of the things that I've learned is that just because your earthly situation isn't perfect doesn't mean that the situation after that, whatever situation you may believe in, is is not going to be something you'll look forward to.
Right.
So,
So that's pretty amazing. Everybody, thank you for coming through. This is Growth Through It. I obviously am your host, Cureage, or just Cure. And this is our unexpected second guest of the night. Keep the faith. If you haven't favorited her already, please do. Like she
thank
said, she
you.
is going for her top badge, and we want to see that happen ASAP. So um, please favorite her. Here on Grow Through It, we do talk about, and by the way, Simply Sweet, if you're still here, you can request a guest box, come back in. We talk about different adversities and how we didn't just go through them in life, but how we've grown through them, how we've grown through and from them to become the people we are. And if it's something that you'd like to talk about, it doesn't have to be deep. It literally be I lost my job for a year and or during COVID, and I went through this and that, and then you found a job, and now here you are, very successful. So whatever your story may be, like she said, we all have a story, right? Um, feel free to favorite me at the top, and obviously favorite Keep the Faith. More
Yeah,
importantly, favorite her. She
thank
is going
you.
for her top badge, and favorite Miss Simply
I need,
Sweet.
yeah,
And
definitely,
add me on
definitely.
Instagram or Snapchat, and definitely hit me with a message or emoji J, and you guys can reach us there, and we can get you on the show for the next episode. And I see everybody that's come in. I promise I'm not ignoring anyone. I know people say cure, and I'm like, I can't really acknowledge you at the moment just because I'm don't want to interrupt the guests, but thank you everybody for being here and for all the love, support, and the respect for each other and for the guests and all the amazing gifts everybody's been getting tonight. So now I can relate to both your stories. Faith's story of, having a certain life and having a certain, like you said, you want to be in the Olympics, you want to be a gymnast, and how you were talking about how you had, literally a part of your life taken from you, right?
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I don't know if you were here or not. That happened to me as well. I was an MMA fighter since I was a toddler, basically. Since I could walk, I grew up into it, and I went after it like there was no tomorrow, literally. And so, in my early
Yeah.
20s, I woke up one day and I couldn't walk. But that was due to an injury. It was a little, obviously, a different story than yours, but it was an injury, so to speak. Or
Did you know about it?
regardless, I didn't know what kind of injury for a while. I ended up with a herniated disc and L in my L6, and my left hip was completely out of place, which caused a lot of sciatic nerve damage. And even to this day, 11 years later, I still have to be careful with doing certain sports, certain even weightlifting, whatever it may be, certain training. So I have to be careful. But I still
Yeah.
train, actively. I still I don't really coach as much since the pandemic, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But so I can definitely relate to you in that sense of having something taken completely away from you, but
Can I ask
making
a
something else out
question?
of it. Yeah, of course.
Um, in your guys' perspectives, for your guys' perspective, both of you, um, what's it like to be physically autonomous?
I know you were asking simply that earlier, so I'll let her answer first.
To be honest with you guys, there's a lot that I haven't said. I try to focus on the lessons I've learned instead of the traumas. I think if people really understood what I've been through and overcame, they will look at me a lot like keep the faith. My physical injuries are not transparent. If I went through my medical records right now, you really can't see them. But that's why we never judge a book by its cover. And so I don't feel like I kind of feel like both of you guys. 7 years ago, my life was great, and I was healthy, and everything was great. And then the worst imaginable thing that can happen to a human happened to me, and I died that day. And I've never been the same, and I never will be the same. And I still mourn that person. And so I've only been on camera for just a couple months for the first time in like almost 8 years. So what you guys are watching from me is a complete miracle. And my actual friends in real life don't know that I've come out of my shell and I'm actually meeting strangers and going on camera and doing shows like no one knows. So Meet Me has
Yeah.
helped me so much. Words can't even describe it. um, and the people on it that I've met and connected with. So I really do relate with you. Keep the faith more than you even know. I have
Yeah.
a lot of things that every day I deal with that I work on overcoming, and I just try to focus on all the positive because I'm so thankful to be alive.
Yeah. Me too.
And it's like what you said earlier, like every hour, like how you became humble in the last year, or you were humbled very much through the adversity that you were faced with, and how you grew from it, but also how it humbled you. Um, for me, I feel like it's like I've always been kind of a humble person, quiet, just like kind of taking things as they are, and whether I'm extremely complimented or acknowledged, I just take it as if I'm completely ignored. I don't really think of myself any higher or any lesser than anything. Sometimes it bites me in the ASS when like people are like dude, don't you realize like this and this and this, and I'm like, they kind of get frustrated because I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, I don't really think of it. I don't let it get to my head, so to speak. So, um, but it is like, every hour, every minute, you know, every second we have, it's like you said in the beginning, it's all about perception, right? Like it's how we look at things, and it's just like how the one of the things says, you know, the task of changing begins in the mirror. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like once we look in that mirror and we see ourselves, like this is who I am, and now we can decide who we want to be. Do we want to be bitter? Do we want to be better? Do we want to be the same? And we're not here to, you know, judge anyone to say like, oh well, you should be better, or you should be bitter because that's horrible, or anything. It's just being who you are. And so perception comes in where, you know, where you just want to look at it. I kind of lost myself in thought, but basically you want to look at things like, yeah, I think the theme of tonight is not being alone, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously there are times where we want to be left alone, or we think we want to be alone, or you know, certain
Yeah.
times where we just want to be left alone because maybe we're having a rough day. But at the same time, it's like essentially we're human beings, right? There's no such thing as a human that is here to be alone. You know, we're not a Coldplay song. As much as I like certain Coldplay songs in the past, we're not a Coldplay song. We don't live out in the woods in the middle of nowhere with no human beings around. There are other human beings around us for a reason, you know? So that's obviously we're meant to be around each other. And I think that's why this app has held both of you in that sense of being able to connect with more people
Yeah.
and being able to find yourself welcome for who you are, not just, you know, who you could be or who you used to be or anything like that, but just who you literally are right now, right here, today, this hour, this minute, this second, by just being you. And no one's here judging you. No one's here. I mean, well, obviously, there's people that want to try to judge you, but we don't let them affect us. Those are just trolls. But the people that, you know, come, like the people that are here tonight to support you guys being on the show for Simply and for Faith, like obviously these people are here
Care.
because they support you, and
Yeah.
there's no conditions. And I think that's a huge thing that to me isn't talked about enough, where conditional, you can call it love, you can call it care, whatever you want to call it, but just being unconditional as a person is one of the most rare but most beautiful and underrated things to me, in my perception, in my opinion, is the most underrated thing that we have in this world. Because when you genuinely care about somebody, you don't do it when it's convenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people that come in for Faith and are supporting her, even though she didn't get a chance to, you know, whatever, bring up the show that she's going to be a guest on it, because we didn't even know she was going to be a guest tonight. But I'm sure if she would have had more, even more people in here supporting her. But
Yeah.
regardless, the people that don't even know her, that are just met her tonight, are here supporting her. Just and same with Simply Sweet, and same with me. You know, and they're supporting us not with any intention to get anything back. And just like we would do, you know, like when we go into people's streams that we just go into because we like that person, we like that energy, we like their streams, whatever it may be, it's because we just care. You know, there aren't conditions, and I think that's something that I feel like a lot of people should work on. You know, like I don't want to say I'm perfect at it. I don't think there is such thing as perfection or normal, and that's what I was going to say to Faith earlier. Is I don't believe in the word normal. I know everyone wants to feel certain types of way, and I know that we do take things for granted, like normal situations, right? Like going to the grocery store, going to, you know, getting up and doing what we want whenever we want, walking, for an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people don't think about those things, right? But normal to me is mundane. Normal to me is boring. Normal to me doesn't really exist if I had to choose. And that's why I think this app has been so great for so many people, not just you two, but so many people, even last week's episode, is because people can just be whoever they are. As weird as we are all weird as hell. And I'll say hell on
Mm-hmm.
here. We are all so weird in our own ways. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean it's a good thing. It just is what it is. I don't believe in good and bad
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to certain things like that. But we are who we are. And like you said, it's all about perception. And it's like, it's how you want to look at it. and how people are going to look at you through their own perspective.
Yeah, I
There's
agree
one
with
thing
that.
I wanted to chime in and just say is sometimes in life we find ourselves where everyone has left and the only person we have is ourselves. And I'm just so thankful that I had that journey because I started to learn to just really enjoy my company, my own company. And that really made
Yeah,
all the difference. I think I'm able to be the person you guys see to you guys and be, someone said to me, you seem so thankful. And it's because I know what it's like to be alone for many years and not have one friend, right?
right,
And so
Yeah.
now it's just a whole new perspective. And what's so great about it is once you are okay being completely alone with no friends, then you don't let people mistreat you. Then if someone's taking advantage of you or being disrespectful, you let it go. And it's a great thing to learn. And so if you guys are finding yourself alone in a situation and you feel alone, embrace it because that could be the start of really attracting the real people.
being alone
And
I feel
just
like is a
know that
huge,
also you're not alone. Like, even if you think you are, you
yeah,
your mind wants to do crazy things, and your mind can be a scary place if you just let it run. So reach out to someone. Don't do it alone. You don't have to. You
right,
don't have to be in isolation.
yeah, and I feel like even being alone with our own thoughts and with our own feelings is a huge part of growth. I don't think we can, because I know there was a certain time that Faith, you were alone, right? With your,
Yeah.
thoughts and with your emotions and feelings, and Simply Sweet was alone with her thoughts and her feelings and emotions. And it gets to a point where we all need it. We all need to be alone in order to grow, because we need to see what, like, if we can't sit here, literally, if I could sit here, not be on the app, so just sit here and stare at the ceiling or stare at one of my pictures or this Buddha behind me and not find some kind of joy with just being alone with myself, how am I going to expect other people to find joy being with me?
Yeah.
So it's important that we find things about ourselves, whether they're good or bad. You can label it if you want. I don't like to. I personally, I just find them, they are what they are. Um, but being alone, we find out these deep, crazy thoughts and deep, crazy secrets, or not even secrets so much, but things that we haven't come to acceptance of, right? And it's kind of like what I talked about in a few other episodes, like last week's, is certain emotions. When we're alone, that's why people are afraid to be alone. There's and I know the show's ending pretty quick, but I'm gonna go with this real fast. Is there's I call it the jump to jump relationship, where people, and I know everyone knows or seen this person, or maybe we've been one of these people, and it's where you go from one relationship to another because you're too afraid to be without somebody, right? It's almost like you need that person to be with somebody. And the reason
Hmm.
for that being is because they make us feel like we belong. So that's why it's important. And they're also a distraction. And what they're distracting us from. And Faith, if the phone's getting too hard to hold up or anything, just you can exit out the box whenever you want.
Well,
Hang
I
up
don't
now.
want to stare at the ceiling. I feel awkward. Is
You're
that
good.
okay though?
Whatever, yeah, whatever you feel like doing.
I
Um,
don't have my tripod, but I'm still here.
yeah, no
I had
worries.
to lay down.
No, yeah, you're good. Um, so, whatever it is that, we're trying to hide from in relationships, whether it's certain depression, we get into relationships so that we don't have to feel that depressed feeling or that sadness, or maybe we're having angry thoughts or emotions coming up from past or whatever. That's, to me, is a really important thing, that it's the time to be alone with those thoughts, with those emotions, with those feelings, because like I said last week, and I've said in other episodes, is that we don't have to be inside of those. And I call them the buses or the trains or the cars or the waves. So, like, if you guys want to picture yourself, because neither of you have been on the show before, so it's like standing on the side of the road or standing in the sand, watching the waves, or we're standing on the side of the road watching the cars coming and going, right? So they're coming and going. There's the angry truck, there's the depression bus, or whatever you want to call it. There's no
Yeah.
reason to jump in front of it and get hit by it, and then, boom, you're stuck in it. Instead, we can watch it. And it's just like allowing these different emotions to come through. Like we can feel sad and allow ourselves and accept ourselves to feel sad. And acceptance doesn't mean that, okay, I'm just going to be sad. It mean you can still change it. It just means that you're accepting it
Yeah.
right now. Like that
It
old
means
saying, this
don't
too
stay
shall
there.
pass. Yeah, it just means that you're okay with how it is right now. Doesn't mean that you have to stay there, but you're accepting it. And the sooner we accept it, the sooner it kind of is able to, we're able to disregard it and move on through it, grow through it basically. So those are certain things that I found myself, that I found to be really important to learn when we are alone. Whether it's at the end of the night after we're done streaming, or in the mornings when we first wake up before we go to work, or whatever it may be, when we're in certain positions where we are physically alone and not distracted by our phone or by our TVs or whatever it is, we're just in our thoughts, in our mind. We're not stuck there, because that's not going to do us any good. But we are there to acknowledge, okay, I'm sad about this, I'm upset about that, whatever it is. We accept it. It comes into our point of being, and then with that, we're allowed to just simply let it go and move forward with it. Now I know I am this way. Now I know why, and now I know what to do from there. I don't know if that
Yeah.
resonates with anyone else, but that definitely is something that helped me grow through a lot of different things in my life, is just
Yeah.
accepting the way I feel. I mean, it doesn't mean like,
How?
and there's no negative emotion, because if you think about it, emotions are just emotions, right? What we do with them, like if we were to hone in and just suppress and like being angry, like think about those people that are doing horrible things in the world. They have a lot of anger in their heart, right? They have a lot of anger in their being, because maybe they were raised that way, maybe they were built up from something, you know what I mean? So it's what we do with those emotions is what dictates whether it's negative or positive. Just in having those emotions, having those feelings come up, doesn't make it negative or positive. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I enjoy the standing in the sand, imagining, the sad wave coming in, going out, the mad wave coming in, going out, because it's kind of like my surfer perspective, or whatever you want to call it, analogy,
Hmm.
to just picture yourself like, in surfing. I mean, I don't know who surfs or not, but in surfing, you don't take every single wave that comes, right? Because then you're gonna miss out on the good waves. So you take what you can
Yeah.
get. And with that, it's like we can choose which one we want to hold on to. We don't have to hold on to anger. We can acknowledge it's there. We can accept that we feel that way. We can figure out why we feel that way, but we don't have to stay there. Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, we're never always happy. We're never always angry. We're never always sad. We're always a little different things. We're always different things. No matter what happens, it's just how life is. That's where human and beings. So I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to say before we go, but if anyone's here that would like to be a guest on the show next Monday, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, hit me with the fave or add me on Instagram, Snapchat, send me a message, or emoji J. And I'm wrong. Sniper,
Yeah.
you'll have to enlighten me. But is there anything that Faith or Sweet would you guys like to share with the audience before we head out?
Yeah. I just want to say, um, I'll be live right after this. Um, so if y'all have questions, if y'all want to come in and talk, um, the topic for this stream is gonna be grieving the loss of a life that you wanted so badly. And like, I've come to terms with the fact that my life isn't going to be the way that I wanted it because someone took that from me. But at the end of the day, if I can come up to the surgeon or the doctor, whoever it was at the time, and say, "Hey, I forgive you, and it's okay." I I honestly wouldn't change my disability at all. And I don't think anyone should want to change their circumstance, because that's the lessons you learn, and the lessons that make you are what get you through life and are what help push you forward. And
grow
just
you,
know that
grow you
God,
through life.
that whoever you believe in, they're not done with you. It's easy to just say that you want to leave and you just want to just make everything stop, but you're valued and you're cared for. And if you don't feel that way, just come talk to any of us and we'll help you feel that way.
Right on. And simply sweet.
Hi.
Anything you want to share
There's
real
so
quick
much I
before we
would
end the
love to
show?
share. Yeah, so I want to answer the question that was proposed to me. What do I feel about probiotics? Probiotics are really important, and I think getting a high quality probiotic in your gut is everything. I personally take probiotics, and so I just wanted to answer that question. I stream every day, either once a day or morning or night or both. And in my stream, we go to the beach. We talk about holistic living. We talk about being kind to others and making a difference. It's a safe spot on the app to come and be celebrated. I use my platform for musicians, and I give back to my friends on my platform just to let them promote their platform as well. And then I have an auction this Saturday that I'm super excited about with Smurfy at 6:35 Eastern Standard Time. And then I'm going to be on a puppet show with Kitty Commander, which is going to be super fun. And it's going to be
Nice.
little finger puppets. I'll just show you one. We named him on my stream because the stream was about creating joy. So this is Sam. so so yeah, and then on Thursday I'm going to be on Travel Bay's show as a guest as well. And you can find me at
Sweet.
Simply Sweet Meet Me G.
Awesome. Well, if you guys haven't, please favorite these two lovely ladies. And thank you both for being here. Faith, thank you for filling in last minute. That was definitely
Of
unexpected, but
course.
amazing. The
Of
show always
course.
finds its way of working out. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show. And you
Yeah.
guys go hang out on their streams after this.
Bye, guys.
Bye.